Hey, you guys, are you out there? You ready for me? Have you been waiting for this show? Um, I don't know. You know what? I'm just getting a note real quick to make sure I have this note for you because I wanted to share something really spectacular. So I'm just make sure I have that right here on my phone. So I hope you are doing well wherever you are. However you're getting this, if you're on Facebook or you're in live on YouTube, but we are in uh, the next moments, we're going to be talking about some really cool things because as you guys know, my name is Dwayne-Ross, the author of the book, No More Crumbs from the Table, where I help you celebrate your tag, your talent, your ability, your gift. And I have created this dream stream to help you and help others share how they could turn their passion into profits. Now, passion into profits is a lot of different things. You could be someone that's interested in photography. You could be interested in singing. You could be interested in t-shirt design. It really doesn't matter. But I also have this as a platform for my authors. These are the people that's actually completed my course, gone through the process of actually publishing their first book. Some of them have gone on to publish multiple books. And of course, some of them have published through other agency or other organizations. And I brought them on because I want you to see the difference between the two, you know, the cost difference, the engagement difference. And it's a lot of different things that you can learn in reference to the publishing and self-publishing book business. And you can do either one. I have individuals that are publishing companies that are part of my cadre, and I have individuals that will help you with getting your editing done, understanding how to get your line editing done, how to get your beta test going, even someone that's going to help you with your structural editing. And then, of course, myself coaching you through the process every step of the way so that when you get stuck, you're not stuck forever. And it's another year and another year, and you put it off and put it off. Now, before I get started, though, I really want to come off. I'm going to remove myself for a moment of silence. I'm wearing my grandson's birthday shirt, if you guys can see that. And of course, I'm talking about my man, Chadwick Boseman, right? If you've been on my Facebook page today, you know that I gave, homage. I paid homage to him because, young man on fire, just doing phenomenal things. And within the short scope of his life for 4 years, he's been battling, according to the reports, colon cancer. And, I have a friend who survived colon cancer, and I have a couple of other people that I know that survived colon cancer. So I'm really not sure how the difference plays out when someone can go through a process and actually come to the other side of it, and then some others never make it to the other side. And in his case, he transitioned. But I'm gonna remove myself and um, woke up this morning. Had an amazing day last night. Right, yesterday out at the March on Washington in reference to reducing and just eradicating a number of different things, but 57-year anniversary of something that Dr. King talked about. And this nation is right now at that place where either they will perish together as fools, or work together as brothers. And when I was out there, I got to tell you, there were thousands of people. I was a volunteer for security and keeping order for our, we did a lot to protect people, to make sure that they were protecting themselves from themselves, right? Because we wanted to make sure that when they came, they practiced some social distancing. If they, based on where we had some things set up, we also had situations for people to get tested. We actually test everyone that came through the gate. Thousands of people getting tested through the gate. They had a special arm bracelet to let us know. And there was another number of other things. And so that was something. But I woke up this morning to this young man losing his battle against cancer. And so on my walk today, I shared with you, live your dream. So many people, they sing, I got one of them little gnats came in. Sorry about that. So many people, they get in a situation, right, where, they put their dreams off and they say, one day I'm going to do this and one day I'm going to do that. I want to encourage you today to live your dream now. This is your plan B. Be it. B-E. All right. So today I have a wonderful privilege of bringing one of my students. Actually, over the next couple of weeks, I have a couple of my students. I have also someone who invited me to their podcast and their live stream, who's also an author, but they didn't take my class, but she's coming back for a second helping. But when I was doing this workshop at the college, different people will come in. Some people never ever tried to write a book, and others have it all together, but they got stuck in the middle. And that's what helped me actually design and develop the self-publishing platform, right? Where I now will coach you through self-publishing your book. And I did some research and found out that there was a pretty good market in the middle for me. And, the way that you start a business is that you look at a pain point, you look at a problem, you look at a way that you can solve it. So you come up with a solution and then you provide that solution. So that's what I've done. And so one person, when I first had my inaugural group and they went through, and then I had another group and they went through, I needed a guest speaker. So I reached out, and this young lady showed up. And not only did she show up, she showed out, right? She came in, she shared some information, she gave them some really cool nuggets about her experience. And so today I've asked Miss Asha Fields from Field Day Press to show up and show out again. And so I'm going to bring her into the live stream right now. Hey, Asha, how you doing?
Hey, everyone. Hi, Dwayne.
It's so good to see you. I think the last time I actually physically saw you was, wow, like 3.5, maybe 4 years ago, right?
Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Yeah, the author event we had, and it snowed that day, and we thought nobody was going to show up. But then we had all the seats filled, and people came, and you presented. Yeah, and the food was great, right? We had it at Dat Jerk. If you guys are in Waldorf area, there's a place called Dat Jerk, and it's a Caribbean jerk spot, and they do jerk chicken and all this kind of cool stuff. But we met there. We had a group of people, and you were one of the speakers there, and you shared some cool nuggets. So today, I want to give you an opportunity to do that again as we move forward. So let's just dive into it. Tell us how you've been, what's been going on. I know that you also the CEO of Field Day Press, where you got a couple of things that people can do and they can use the services. So talk about it.
Sure. Well, just first and foremost, again, hey everyone, my name is Asha Fields. My pen name is Roxanne Ridge, but you can just call me Asha. And I'm just thankful and grateful to be here. And I just thank Dwayne for the opportunity. And just to piggyback off what he said, I agree with Chadwick Boseman. It's just with his work, I feel like it should inspire us, to be impactful. That book or whatever you've been working on, go ahead and do that. And you could end up being someone else's with a book, end up being someone else's favorite author someday. So just go for it. But I'm just happy to be here. In terms of what's been going on with me, with the pandemic, I feel like people may think, oh, I need to be doing this and that. But I've been using the time just to get some of my personal things in order. I enjoy writing, but I just realized I needed to be into it and just practice and get back into the craft, because I'd started writing about 3 years ago when I met Dwayne, but I kind of wanted to get other parts of my life together in terms of just work and family. And the pandemic, for me, it allowed me to slow down and to realize what was important, because prior I was getting burnt out. But in that time, I've just learned so much in terms of my writing from Dwayne's course, which I highly recommend if you're in the Southern Maryland area. And it just made me want to get back into writing again. Like, I know I mainly like to help others with their writing in terms of the line editing and the beta reading that Dwayne spoke about, but I just needed that moment to just kind of take a step back, and it helped me remember what was important. And I'm just so glad that he reached out to me. But that's what's just been going on, just kind of getting things in order. And now I feel like I'm ready to just have my books. Like, I have a new book out right now. It's the book 2 of the Stone Sister series. It's called Sierra. Book 1 was called Savannah. And all those are available. You can find them on my website that will take you to Amazon. So you can check out fielddaypress.com. But that's mainly what's been going on, just figuring out what's what and just how I can contribute in the author world as well.
So tell us again, what is that website? Because I can post that in the comments section, and you're going to hear comments from different people that, those that choose to make a comment or might have a question. And maybe when you start talking about certain things, because I got about 5 questions, 3 specific questions, but then of course, if other questions come up, that I'm going to, put those out there.
Sure.
So to get started though, remind us of your website. Then tell us, remind us of your website, and then tell us again, why did you become a author? What was your driving force?
All right. So the website, you might see it up in the corner. It's fielddaypress.com. And just where that came from is like the old saying, like, oh, they're having a field day. And my last name is Fields with the S. So I figured, and make that the name of my website. So fielddaypress.com. And that has that has my writing services. You can check out my book trailers for books and just other things that I offer in terms of the line editing, beta reading, even some ghostwriting if you're interested. But in terms of what got me into writing, I've always enjoyed writing. In my life, my mom liked to write, and so did my grandma. When my grandma was alive, she would visit our family, and I had a journal as a little girl. And when she would visit, she would write journal entries in my journal, and I still have that journal to this day. And I just figured, since both my mom liked to write and so did my grandma, I wanted to be the first person in my family to be a self-published author, or what's better known as an indie author. So that's what encouraged me to want to write, was to make my family proud and to have my work published. And now that I've done that, I just look forward to, just honing my skills, my craft, and then helping other people how I can in terms of getting their work out too. So I encourage you, check out my website,
Check out our website. Now, I love the fact that you used, this idea of having a field day, but your name is Field. And a lot of people think that in order to, they have to have this publishing company name and all this kind of stuff. But you decided to use your own name inside your your
Mm-hmm.
publishing names. Could you talk about how that works for you? Is there an advantage to you? Is it not an advantage to you? What really makes this work for you as an author, especially an indie author?
I'd say as an indie author, I'd say anything can work for you because essentially the difference between being an indie author and traditionally published is you are doing everything yourself. So for me, it just clicked to use my last name in the saying. But it can be, there's a saying that goes, you can put out the work or like say yes, and you can make things perfect later. So yeah, so what I would say is, for me, it just worked. I just knew that's the name that I wanted. I asked a few people and it sounded fine because having the press at the end does make it sound as if, okay, this is publishing, it's related to the news in some kind of way. So that's what I did. But I would say as an indie author, it can be trial and error. Maybe it's one thing, but you want to switch it up. And the thing is, you can do that because it is your brand. Maybe you have one, or you could have multiple ideas and just, I would say, ask around, see what fits for some, like, what they like. And then you can go with that. But that's just how I came up with the name and my tagline, professional reviews and Goodreads solved. I thought it encompassed my business, but that's just what I did. To me, it just clicked using my last name. And the advantage is I haven't seen anyone else with it, but I'd say an advantage is to have a pen name like how I have one in case you don't want to use your real name. Like granted, my content isn't, anything crazy still. It's nice to have a pen name because sometimes you can just, answer as that. It's just a nice thing to have. But yeah, that's what how I did that to my advantage and how it's working out for me.
Well, tell us another thing, because something had to inspire you to write. Or were you writing as a young person and you always said one day I'm going to be an author? How did it start for you? Like what inspired you to become an author? What was
Mhm.
the catalyst?
I'd say for me, what inspired me was I find that I get inspired when I least expect it. Kind of like during this pandemic. Oh, hey, during the pandemic, um, I find I get inspired just by kind of taking a moment just to be in it, as I think you said, it's like a plan B, just to be human, just absorb the moment. And it kind of clicked. And this may sound silly, but what helps with my writing is things that I'm watching on TV. So for example, I write a lot of thriller, horror, suspense stuff. So at the time in 2016, I was watching, it was in October, I was watching a lot of just scary stuff on TV, just certain documentaries. There was a film, now go figure, now I can't think of the name of it. I think it was called, oh, can't think of the name of it, but I can think of the actor. It was Megan Fox. It's like a cult movie now. I can't, it was someone's body, but I can't think of whose body it was. But anyway, I was watching these series of scary horror stuff, and it just clicked that, oh, I can make a story out of this. So it may sound silly, but I get a lot of inspiration from watching things on TV and some of my other books. This may sound weird too, but it works for me. Is I will look at pre-made book covers. Those are book covers that an artist has already made, and I'll look at that picture and I'll draw inspiration from that and I'll craft a story. So my two inspirations are things I see on TV and looking at people's book covers, and then just kind of being in the moment. Sometimes you just kind of get that aha moment and it just feels right. So that's what helped me get into writing. Like I always know my mom and my grandma, they wrote, and I knew I had it in me, but that's when it clicked about 4 years ago. I was just like, oh yeah, I can do this. And I got the confirmation from my editor, like, like, oh, this is a good story. So that's what I would say. Just kind of be in the moment, don't force it. And you'll find that, oh, you know what? I think I have something here. It may be irritating, like, oh, where was this idea earlier? But sometimes it's just the timing of things and you can't rush certain stuff. All you can do is just be in the moment.
Well, that sounds pretty cool because a lot of people try to force it. They try to, I'm going to write, I'm going to write, I'm going to write. And I teach
Mhm.
writers write. So you're going to write anyway. And you should write when you're inspired. You shouldn't write. You shouldn't. Okay. My encouragement is that you write when you're inspired. However, you can put yourself in position by making sure that you have a goal for writing. And some people know
Mhm.
that if you don't have a goal, then what happens, you are just kind of all over the place. So I give people an actual goal. I look at, okay, how many words do we need to have by the end of the week? And if you have this many words per day, this many words per hour, this many words
Mhm.
per minute, by the end of that 2 hour time frame that I've asked you to commit to yourself and your own project, then you can actually come together with the amount of words that we need to
Mhm.
move us forward. Now, you are was classified as CEO of your company, of your own field day press company,
Mhm.
and you're also a published author who has now 3 books, I understand, because you just have
I
a
think
new book
4.
coming out. 4.
Yeah,
So let's
4
talk
books.
about that.
Mhm.
Let's talk about the first one, because I got to tell
Sure.
you, when I when I read Woman in the Wall,
Mhm.
um, I was going through it and I was thinking, wow, this would make some kind of cool movie. This would make a real good net. I was thinking, not Netflix. I was thinking Redbox, because
Hey.
I had watched a thriller on Redbox where this guy took like 3 of his friends and maybe 5 other people from college, and they made this thriller movie and they put it on Redbox and they made it for like $3,000.
Mm.
$3,000 that they took, and they used their own house and this and this and that. And I had looked it
Mhm.
up, and come to find out, it had grossed 1 point something million dollars through
Wow.
Redbox. Through
Hmm.
Redbox.
I gotta
So
see what that is. Not just
yeah,
Spike Lee, but what was this first movie? I think what was that budget? 10,000? She gotta have
she's
it.
got to have it.
Yeah. You just have to be
So
ambitious and do it. Hmm.
if you just move forward with what you know, and you just go ahead and commit, like Miss Gladys says, knowing you have it in you is precious, right?
Hmm.
And when you have it in you, the fact is, just put it to work. So tell us again some other parts of your journey, because a indie author has to have tenacity, they have to have strength. Talk about
Uh-huh.
getting started and moving forward, and what happens when you hit the pitfalls.
Oh yeah, sure, sure. 'Cause I feel like I've experienced all of those. So I think I talked about, what inspired me. And I guess what you're saying in terms of being an indie author, I can talk about also adding in terms of how I got started with that. So like I said, I'm an indie author, and the difference is you have the indie author route and then the traditional publishing. All I can do is speak to the indie author route. There is the traditional publishing, but just for this. So for me, I learned I at the time before I met Dwayne, I didn't know anyone that was publishing. So I was literally the guinea pig, or to be nice, I could say the trailblazer, but I felt like a guinea pig. So I didn't know anything. I was fortunate to find my book coach at the time. Her name is Jessica Tillis, and she's with TWASolutions.com. But anyhow, I worked with her, and for startup costs, because that's right there. I feel like there are 3 points, but I'll get to that. I invested $1,000, and she would do my editing, my formatting. She did my book cover. She walked me through the process in terms of getting ISBNs. That's a barcode that's on the back of your part that's on the back of your book, and on the inside as well, next to the copyright. Oh yeah, I did the copyright, but I was learning all these things on my own. And it can look like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of money. And you can think, am I going to make that back? And I think with that, we can get caught up in the numbers. And I said it's a pitfall. When you're an indie author, it really is up to you. It's like, how badly do you want, your product? But sometimes, because there are people that sometimes do it for the art, and there are those that do it for profit. I think it's just finding your motives, and something that Dwayne speaks about, and it's a point that I would bring up, is to have your tribe, have your street team, those that support you, that can, put the word out, and believe in yourself as well. And you definitely get something out of it. I recouped that amount, and I learned a lot about in terms of making my writing better. And I was able to gain other skills where now I edit and I can do the beta reading. But that was a pitfall, just dealing with the money aspect. Like, oh, I spent this, am I going to get it back? But I think when you put in the time and the effort, you will get something out of it. You make those connections. And also you can learn things to do differently. Like in the beginning, my first book that Dwayne mentioned, Woman in the Wall, that was what you call a custom cover, where my book coach, she created that cover. And custom covers usually cost a lot more. Well, I can't, each artist is different, but they most likely cost more than a pre-made cover. Pre-made covers vary. They can be anywhere between $5 to maybe $75, well, depending on where you go, but they're usually significantly less than getting a custom cover. And I find that's a better option, just to get someone a pre-made cover. And a lot of artists do that. But I'd say those are the pitfalls. I got caught up on, how can I make a profit? Forgetting that, I already put in the money to get these books done, and I need to just get my work out there and let it be there. And then I got worried about, I published this series 2-3 years ago and my writings changed. But I was like, I'm just going to have it as is and just keep it pushing, and I'll just continue to get better over time. But it can be so, I think with authors, they're looking at it like it's fast food, like, oh, it's quick and we'll just eat this and enjoy it and consume it this way. But it's not like that. You put out your work and, you're supposed to just, I guess it matures over time, I guess you could say, but it's not like quick money. That's if you want to do traditional publishing, sure. It's not like you can just be E.L. James or Hunger Games automatic.
Yeah.
That's nice, and I will root for you, but you have to be realistic. I'd say just celebrate getting your book published, because not everyone can say that. And you have Dwayne here that will, work with you, and he has his course and this program. Like, it is possible. You can get kind of bogged down, but you just have to just stick with it. And then you can say, like, wow, I did that, and now I can help someone else as well.
Do you think that I was cracking the whip too much? No.
Not at all.
You felt inspired. You felt encouraged. You felt that. Tell me, I'm putting words in your mouth. So, as a student of the course that I was teaching, and again, you took the course at the community college, which is, there's people that have taken it at the community college, and I found them stuck, and I found people who have completed, and they're just different, right? But I found a niche for myself, because I said, well, if they were to do everything themselves and they knew all the different steps and they followed everything that I said in class, etc., they will end up with a book in their hand, however long it takes. But the thing is, you get stuck in certain parts. Like when you came to class, you had already done a lot of the pre-work, and you were like, oh man. And it was just basically, it was some information that I shared on even things that you can get other people to do for you or help you. And you were like, oh, let me try that. And then boom, you started, like the ball started rolling, and you already had a coach when you came to class.
Yeah.
So
yep.
That's a pretty interesting thing. So, and you guys, this is the book I'm talking about.
Hey,
and I have my
novel.
signed copy.
Yes. That's
all right.
me.
And I loved it. And I'm gonna tell you, I was waiting for the second one. I was like, okay, what's the next one, right? And then you decided to tell the same story, but now from the woman who was in the wall. And I was like, wait a minute, this is powerful. You guys, this is available on Amazon, Amazon.com. You can go there. You can go to, they go to Field Day Press and get it as well, correct?
Yes. Yeah. If you go to Field Day Press,
you go to Field Day Press.
Yeah. And
get
click on
there.
buy.
Yes. Buy through her website. And there's some things I'm going to talk about in that too, because a lot of people, they don't have a website, they don't have a Facebook page, they don't have a lot of different things. And that's another thing that I brought to the table. So I was like, listen, let me help you get all that stuff together. So I kind of put a mix together to help them not have to worry about that, because I really want them to tell their story. I want them to write, you know what I mean? So talk to us about your books that you've accomplished. Let's start with The Woman.
Yes,
I love
the debut.
The eyes on this thing. Now, was this you said this was customized, right? She created
custom.
This specific, right? Look at the eyeball.
Yeah,
look at that eyeball. Can you see that, y'all? That is, you can see the sweat
Fire. Yep.
Fire. You can see,
Hmm.
and then you can see the light from the trees. Is that awesome or what? So when I
So
saw
with nothing,
just
you
the
do get
cover,
what you pay for. Hmm.
just the
Yep.
cover alone, I was like, I got to get this book. This is, and you said, here you go, and you gave me one. I was like, oh, thank you. So talk about the experience that you had with book number one, how it transferred into book number two,
Hmm.
and then so on and so forth.
Sure. So I'll talk about the books. And I think you also mentioned in terms of what I learned from your course, Write Your Story. So with book one, the main thing, like I said, that just came from inspiration. Go figure. Now all of a sudden, any other time I could name the movies that inspired me, I could think of the actor. But basically, again, watching scary stuff. There was one movie in particular. I think it's on Netflix. I just can't think of the actor's name, but I'll know it afterwards. It was the guy who played the Iceman in X-Men, and but he was like a main character, one of them. But anywho, I got inspired and I wrote my first book. And because I was feeling good and motivated, it didn't take me that long. Like when you're enjoying your craft, it doesn't even feel like work. So that's when I got with the book coach. And again, I found this person myself. I was literally Googling, I think, editor and book coach, and she was someone that was local to me. And she walked me through the process. So she basically did a lot of the hand holding for book one. And when it came to book two, because she gave me that knowledge, I felt, confident to do it on my own. And around that time, that's when I got into Dwayne's class. And I would say as a creative, whether you're author, whatever, and just in general life, never, always, I feel like you should always be willing to learn. 'Cause I could have said like, oh, I'm good. Like I know everything I need to know. But I think it's all about honing your craft and adjusting with the times. I'm pretty sure like this app we're using right now, it wasn't out back then, but you get with the times. So I saw his class and I'm always trying to better myself. So even though I already had my book published, I came in just wanting to maybe know more tips and tricks. And like Dwayne said, he has a mix of everything from just getting your book published and to even including marketing aspects, like just outsourcing, as he mentioned, like a website he brought up, which I still use to this day. And I maybe he'll put it up there or someone will. It's called Fiverr.com. Fiverr.com. A really great affordable link to outsource. And that's not just for book stuff. They offer a lot of things. That's something I had never heard of. But Dwayne talked about like it was nothing. And I'm just like, oh, I need to find out about this. So it has helped me just in a lot of ways in terms of getting advertisements. And then I learned about the search, SEO, search entry. I forget what the O stands for, but
Search engine
thank
optimization.
you. Yeah. Yeah, but I just really enjoyed that aspect because okay, I have my book, but what else can I do going forward? I don't want to keep spending $1,000 each time for things. Like, what are some other things I can learn? And I was able to show my finished product to the group as well. Like, hey, I'm someone that's in the course, and I have my product, so you can do it too. But that's what I learned from his course. Just so it's something for everyone, and he literally goes through step by step. So back to the first book, it was a hand holding with my book coach. And then book two, as Wayne said, was the prequel. And I feel like I like a prequel. I like prequels. Some people may be like, oh, why do that? But I think if you can craft the same story from a different point of view and still make it feel brand new, that's a skill. You have to look at it like, I forget her name, but the author of Twilight. Twilight has been done for a long time now. And what did she do? She came out with Midnight Sun, which is basically Twilight from Edward's point of view. And I think even E.L. James, 50 Shades of Grey was done. What did she do? She came out with the same thing from Christian's point of view. So it's
She
like
said
you
some
can
more
do
gray.
it.
Here's some gray from some other gray,
Yeah,
and then get
yeah,
gray, get back on the other gray. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I like to interrupt sometimes, so because I don't want
Hmm.
to rush past some of the things that you said, because one of the things about that is some people think that, like you said, you could start a story, and there's all kind of vantage points that you can tell the story. As a matter of fact, there's a movie called Vantage Point, right?
Oh
Where
yeah.
there's a crime committed, and then they show everyone's all these different vantage points of the crime. And in some cases, that's what people want. They want to know, like, okay, you told a story from, the mom's side, but what about the dad? What does he have to do with it? Or you
Mm,
told a story from mom and dad, but what did the son have to do with it? There was a point in your story where I was really like, I wanted to know more about the girlfriend, or the
mm.
you know the was she his
Yeah, the
girlfriend, or
love
it was the
interest.
love interest, right? I wanted to know,
Uh-huh.
what was she thinking, because first of all, you don't usually just go traipsing. Oh, I can't
Ooh.
tell everybody what the situation is. All right, I'm gonna keep that to myself. But I was like,
So
how
they
we
can
be
be like,
talking
what
to
was
the
she
screen.
doing?
You're like, what are you
Mhm,
doing? Like,
mhm,
you're like, don't go. It's a trap.
mhm.
So talk to us about this idea of crafting a story from different perspectives and still expecting the newness of it.
Hmm. I would say, oh, that's a good question. I think kind of like what you said with different vantage points, you kind of think in a way it's like having the inner speech. Like you try to think, I think we as authors, we have inner speech where maybe we're having whole conversations with ourselves. As long as we don't answer back, we're having whole conversations with ourselves. We are predicting situations or imagining scenarios. And I think you just really try to get into the mind of that character. Things that I found that helped were I would go to certain websites. There's one called, I want to say it's descriptionary.com with the I at the end. And I believe that's what it's called. And it's literally also reading other people's work helps too, but it's just people writing. You can just type in a word and it will be people that have written different subjects based on that word. So I just think it helps to maybe just get into the mind of the character. Also music can help as well, just in terms of what you're writing, and just it kind of gets you out of yourself a little bit. But I think just considering the person's age and maybe where they are in their life, it can help you kind of craft the story. Because like I said, you want to make sure the voice is distinct. You don't want it to sound like the same person either. And if it's, it may take some time, but I think all you can do is try with it.
There
And
you go.
yeah. Mhm.
Put that effort out there. And then what I teach is, look, this is your minimal viable product. You're getting it out there, and then you're gonna let your customers kind of craft back certain things. Now, of course, the beta test does that. So let's talk a little bit
Mhm.
about what happened with you, because I remember getting a message from you, and it's like, I started my own company. I'm like, what did you do? You're like, I got a beta company going. And so tell us about
Mhm.
how that evolved and where is it now in reference to it. Number one, why do people
Mhm.
why is that so important in the process?
Mm.
And then how did you come to making that into a real viable business?
Sure. So, and I tried to take too much time because I really enjoy beta reading. Just with that, so we are authors. We're excited about our work. We want to get it out there, and I'd say with that, what can happen is sometimes we get too close to our work. We're really excited about it, and it's as if we have blinders on. So naturally, we may have the editor look it over and edit things. But before you even get to that, I highly recommend the beta reading. And beta reading is basically having someone, it could be someone in your target audience or anyone, it could be a family member, just having someone read over your work and give you feedback. And it's as simple as that. And before it goes is in the way, it can help that make the editor's job easier. There may be certain things that the editor, can it can make it easier for the editor, and you're getting the point of view from your customer when you have them do the beta reading, because maybe the customer may know what they like. If you're writing a romance novel, you want the characters to be likable, so maybe you want to just have someone, you know, do a beta reading for your story, and they can tell you like, oh, I like this about the person, or you know, this person is kind of annoying. Maybe, you know, why they do that, versus having to go straight to an editor. And, you know, it's not necessarily their job to say, hey, why are they doing this and that? They can do that, but it's just a good way to have someone read over your work. And you can get as many beta readers as you want, and they give you the feedback. You work on those changes, and then you can send it to the editor, which then maybe they'll just focus on the editing and just getting into some of the nitty gritty. But it's just a helpful way to get feedback from your audience before you send it off to the editor and publishing, when we're like, oh, I could have added that, or oh, maybe I need to take that part out. Yeah.
So
and that's what I'm.
let me rewind a little bit, because
Sure.
you talked about $1,000 being, you know, what people think, oh, that's a lot of money. But now you were able to create a business out of one of the pieces of self-publishing, which is beta reading. What's the cost for something like that? What do people pay for that type of pre-professional help? Because it's not the actual editor yet. It's a pre-professional, or the way I do it is I actually have it. You get a pre-edit, you get an editing version, then you do your beta test, and then you get a final editing. That's how I do it. I actually put an editor in front and an editor in the back, because what I found is that sometimes when people, the beta readers would say, oh, this whole section right here needs to kind of get some work. So that means it might need to be changed a lot. So therefore I get it edited up front. Then I tell them, okay, we're going to produce the book so you can have your beta tests. And then after that, we get one more final edit. So talk about the price. What does it cost to do that kind of stuff?
Oh, so this is how I was able to make it into a business, because believe it or not, and I'm being upfront with it. So the way I found out about it was I was on Fiverr looking at beta reading. And what I found is, I'll just say this overall, I charge for my services because I believe it's professional beta reading, the quality you get. But get this, and this is I forget what DJ Khaled would say, just that major key, you know, that's old now, but so take this at your discretion. Beta reading, it can be free, but I charge for my service because of what I provide. I've literally had my clients tell me that when I read their work, just as one person, is the amount of 5 people reading their work, or maybe some of their writing classmates. And I'm very timely, because you have some people, and that's the trade-off. So I could say pros and cons. I charge because I know the quality and level of my work. I believe I can do that. And if you check my website, I have testimonials, but it is completely up to you. But you definitely can charge. You have to, I would say you can look on websites to see what other people charge for it. And don't let other people discourage you, like, oh, why are you charging for that? It's your business. You can, literally your business, you can charge what you want. If you feel like you have a good service, do that. So in terms of pricing for beta reading, I do mine. I have standard packages, and I have custom packages, and my prices are on my website. But when they get to certain, and oh, that's the other thing, beta reading, they tend to charge per word, like dollar amount per word. So once it gets up to a certain word limit, I charge that. But here's so pros and cons. So I would say the pros of having someone, a paid beta reader, is timeliness, professionalism, and you know, you're getting that feedback. Whereas if you have someone doing it for free, things you may have to worry about are you may not hear back from them. Or the feedback may be kind of like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. Okay, but what is the solution? Are you giving me some input as to what I can change, instead of just saying, oh, I like this, I don't like that? So yeah, in terms of you may not hear back, and yeah, just the feedback may be kind of vague, and yeah, I think it just depends on your comfort level. But I
No,
know
I
for
love it.
myself,
I love what you're saying here, because I had someone who, when I first got started, I was like doing a lot for free. and I was
Oh,
telling them
wow.
like hours of information, and they would go, "Oh, okay," and then they would spend like all my time, right? And then I'll get back to them, it's like, "So where you at?" And they're like, "Oh, I had to take my son to the basketball game, and I had to do this to the daughter to swimming lessons and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Okay, but I gave you like $1,000 worth of
Mhm.
information, and you didn't even like use it for like $5. That's
Mhm.
very discouraging to me." And so as I started charging people, I didn't know what to charge, and I was like picking numbers out the air. I'm glad you went to Fiverr and found, Fiverr, for you guys that don't know, and Upwork, excuse me. These are
Oh, yeah.
places where freelancers go and they actually charge for their services, but they have packages that to get you started. Now, I happen to know that there's a few that they're not as good, and then I know there's some that are good. And then I personally use some as well, and I found ways to kind of supplement the work that I do by certain parts of it. I'll outsource because I'm not an illustrator for a children's book, but I have found a great illustrator for all my children's books, two of them on Fiverr. And somebody just sent me another illustrator just this week. And so now I'm getting ready, do some vetting on that person to see what they have going. I'm going to give them one character, which is my son, because I'm writing a children's book called Touchdown for Daddy, from when my son was 6, 7 years old. And he told me on the sideline, he's like, "Dad, when I go in, I'm going to make you a touchdown." And I said, "Oh, are you?" Because we just getting ready to start it. Game, he didn't even kick off the ball yet. And we got the ball like on the 12-yard line on our side. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, this little dude thinks he's going to run the whole field." And on the third down, he got the ball and went through the middle of the field and took off.
Hey.
And he made a touchdown. And I was like, "Oh my God." I jump over the fence. I run onto the thing. I pick him up. I'm like, "Joseph." And Joseph, at the time, that's what he did. He was a running back, and I was a running back. And he was wearing my number from high school, which was from traveling team on the in the Falcons, 33. And so anyway, long story short, so I had somebody that wanted services, and I had charged. I charged like $700. They were like da 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 da, and I said, "Well, your illustration cost $650. You think I made money? I didn't make any money on your project." So
Mhm.
I'm glad you're saying things about people paying attention to the cost, because you can get stuff for free, but you don't
Right.
always get the quality that you need. Because once you put your indie book out there, it's at the discretion of people, and they will tear it apart saying, "Oh, you would never get this from a publishing house," which I found that it doesn't, half of that is for those readers that are diehard readers. But
Mhm.
if you have information that's going to help move people forward, or you going for entertainment, you give them a cool story. J.K. Rowling said, "Just tell the story and let the people make the decision." So I pretty much go with that. Okay, we're running. We got like 10 more minutes, or 6 minutes actually. 6 minutes,
What?
Doug, and press your own. So
Uh-oh.
here's the deal. I got it. This is my this. I'm trying. I want to do something different that I haven't done before, but I heard it before, and it's like rapid fire. So I'm gonna ask you a quick question. Right off the dome.
Okay.
Just tell me like
Every time I'm
what
bringing the
what your
heat.
thoughts.
I'm
I'm
supposed to
bringing the
anyway.
heat.
So.
Yes, you said you was bringing the heat, so I said,
Mhm.
"Okay, we'll bring the heat." But before we do that, I just want to kind of again say about Chadwick Boseman. You said something that was really cool. You said, the person needs to find themselves in the story, right? And so he was the type of actor like Denzel Washington. He is authentically himself in the mindset of that character. So when
Mhm.
you're a writer, you can put yourself inside the mindset. And like you said, you're talking to yourself, you're answering yourself. Now you got to be the third character. You got to be the monster in the character. You got to be
Mhm.
the protagonist, the antagonist. You got to be
I find
everybody. You
myself
got to be
moving
Joe.
around like how they
Yeah,
would.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how would that
You're like,
scene
which
go?
way would he go? So I help people. I
Mhm.
say, okay, let's develop your character, because it helps you write your story, right? Because if your character is a honorary, mean person, they probably won't walk away and say, "Hello, thank you very much." They're gonna say something different, right? So we
Mhm.
got to make sure that we're being authentic with that. All right, so lightning round, real quick. I'm doing this because Onyx Singal does this and his entrepreneur podcast, and I really like the way he does it. So I said, I'm gonna try this with you, okay? Because
Okay.
you've been through it. You're on your fourth book.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The fourth book, what's it about?
Okay, so fourth book is Sierra. It's book 2 in the Stone Sister series. It follows the twin sister Sierra. She is looking for her sister Savannah that escaped from the psychiatric ward. So it just follows her journey as she's trying to escape as well. Oh yeah, and that's it, right in the corner. Oh, let me point my finger. It's right in the corner over there. Yep.
There it is. All right. When you are sleeping, do you get awakened with part of your story? And if so, what happens?
Not really, but I know literally I could be watching something on it's TV. Like I could just be watching something, and if what I have to do is I have to write it down. So I usually use my phone, like a note app. I have to have it and just written down somewhere, even if it's just a little thought. Because otherwise, just as soon as that thought came, poof, it's
It's
gone. It's
gone.
not even if I'm getting old or anything, but it's just like I need to write down. Because otherwise, it's just like, what was that? What was I thinking about? Gone.
All right. Inspiration. Where is the craziest place you was ever inspired to write something down? And you're like, I gotta get a pen and paper. I gotta.
Ooh, it's been, I would say, dang, I can't even, it's rapid fire. I'm gonna say, dang, oh, I was listening to a story that fun fact about Woman in the Wall. So just listening to my boyfriend talk about work, he has a customer that he's in the lawn and gardens. So his customer was looking at some hibiscus, the hibiscus flower, and his customer would say, "Oh, those look like hot biscuits." So fun fact, that's where that came from in Woman in the Wall. I heard that and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of neat." So just added that into the story. I like to add little details about surroundings. So just from hearing my boyfriend's work story, that inspired me to kind of add that in there. So that's the thing they say about writers sometimes. Like some things you tell them, they may end up in a story. So yeah.
Well, that's another question. So, who has been a person that became part of your story and they were like, girl, you talking about me?
Well, I would say not really anyone, but definitely there's an artist I like named Kaylani. She has an album called Sweet Sexy Savage. And my second series, the Stone Sister series, that
Mhm.
really inspired that. So like each part of that album name to me represents a character. So Savannah is the savage part, and then right now Sierra is the sweet part. So book 3 will be coming sometime, and that will be the sexy part, but not too over the top. But that's something I saw a person, her work was just like, oh yeah, I can make a whole book series out of that. And each character can be a representation of that album, Sweet Sexy Savage.
How'd you feel when you first got your first check because you sold some books?
So I don't want to throw the phone around, but I was like, wow, like someone got my book, it just feels so good. Whether it's, you're at a vendor event or virtually, or you're checking on Amazon, because you can publish through there. That's one of the websites. And you just see you got your royalties. It's like, wow, someone, took the time. It just feels good. Like, I'm putting my work out there. I was just over the moon. Like, oh my goodness, wow, someone got my stuff. Yeah, so it just felt
Yeah,
really good.
that's awesome. Uh, Miss Cherry says, cool. Because she's in the
Thank
process
you.
of hers right now. And, she decided to participate with my
Okay.
program. And so she's here tonight. And so she's hearing some cool stuff from you. Last
I
thing is
hope your
because
book goes well, and just you can let me know. Just share the excitement with me, but hope it goes well.
so the last thing is, what's the future look like right now? The immediate future, if you can talk about that and wrap us up, because you did,
Mhm.
you know, what is it that you're doing right now that's going to move you
Sure.
into the future? Go ahead.
So, just for me right now, I will always, I say always, but my website, fielddaypress.com, I am still doing the editing and beta reading. So check that out if you're interested. I have my latest book, Sierra. So right now I'm just, promoting that. You can get that book. The main thing is I'll just be finishing up the series. And I would say to leave you all, oh, thanks, to leave you all with 3 points. I guess it could be the acronym BIT, would be build your team, which is what Dwayne talked about with having a tribe, invest in yourself. That can be time, effort, money, whatever it wants, because you had to invest something. You had to put in something to get something out. So build your team, invest. And then lastly, the T is target your audience. So just if you keep those three things in mind, you should be good to have your thing. So build your team, invest, target your audience. So just that's what I would leave you with. So like I came out with my book. So right now I'm just kind of, just basking in like, oh, I got my book out after this time, because it was a little while before that second book came out. So now I'm just kind of like, I can breathe, and I'm just kind of free writing, and just working on clients I have for beta reading. But that's what it's looking like for me. And I hope for you writers out there, just to be encouraged and don't feel discouraged, like, oh my goodness, I'm not writing enough. Like, just set a goal for yourself and you'll get it done.
Wow. This is, look, I told you it was going to go fast, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
already
Yeah.
at 8 o'clock hour. I mean, we are
Mm-hmm.
right there. I had a situation where I would go from here right to coaching, and I had to change it because it was like I get to 8 o'clock and I'm like, ooh, I got one more little thing. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, I want to say thank you so much for giving us this time, valuable platinum nuggets is what I call them, when somebody's able to share information that can move people into the future with their books. And the idea is that, in Write Your Story course, self-publishing now, so Write Your Story self-publishing course, I tell people you definitely need to go ahead and get it out of your head, out of your heart, and into the hands of those that consume it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You gave us bit. And at the last part of
Mm-hmm.
that was target your audience. Who's your audience now?
So my audience is young adult and those that are into horror, suspense, but mainly my audience is young adult. And that's something as authors you can research, because there's young adult, new adult, there's all kinds of categories, but that's who mine is, and that's who I cater my stuff to. But of course, I'm happy if anyone wants to get my book, sure. But it helps when you have your audience in mind, because you just have an idea. And that's also when it helps to have a beta reader, because they're part of your audience. So it all goes hand in hand.
Well, this is
Yep.
interesting because I did not know that for 100%. But Miss Gladys Cherry, who's been the most active in the comment, that's her genre as well, young adult. So
Oh,
I think
oh.
you guys might have some really cool things to talk about as she moves forward to completing her program. And there's a lot of coaching going on with her to get it to where we're going. And I told her, you know what? I got you by the hand. We're gonna finish this thing. We're going to make it happen.
Mhm.
So maybe, hopefully, we can have a situation where maybe she'll be on here next time
Yeah, hey, we are
talking.
claiming it. Like you might
And,
be, as soon as this video's over, it might be the next one. Just, yeah, definitely.
all right. Well, thank you so much, Asha. We are at the end of
Thank
our time. I
you.
want to say, you guys, thank you so much. You will, again, go to fielddaypress.com. That information has been on the screen. I'm going to put it up there one more time,
Thank you.
fielddaypress.com. And those that are on YouTube, you can go right there as well. And I would encourage you to actually even search out, tell them again, your pen name is what they go by, which is Roxanne
Oh,
Ridge,
yes, yes, I'm sorry.
right?
So
But
I
they'll be
usually
looking
just
for your
spell
name,
it.
Asha, but it's
Right.
Roxanne
Yeah. So
Ridge, right?
that's a con sometimes. I just because my mom's like, oh, you should have a pen name. And I did that. But anyway, so my pen name is Roxanne Ridge. So
Were
Roxanne,
you
that
saying
RIDGE.
RDGE?
Yeah. Roxanne
Okay.
Ridge.
We want to make sure we spell it right, because some people put one X in Roxanne and other people put two, and
Oh
your
yeah. So
Roxanne
it's one
has,
X and two N's. Mhm.
so you have one X and two N's, correct?
Yes.
All right, you guys, here it is. Boom.
That's it.
Roxanne Ridge. Make sure you check that out.
Mhm.
So if you're going to be looking for her, you want to find the right person. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, I'm at the end of my time. I want to say thank you so much. Asha, I'm going to have you go to the green room real quick. I'm going to close out.
Okay.
So thanks
Bye
again. We'll see
everyone.
you when you come up with the next one after Sierra.
Oh
I want you to
yeah.
come back and tell us
Okay.
the response of Sierra moving into the next person and then the next person. Because I think that last one, she's going to be quite juicy. I think that's what
Mhm.
they, That's my friend Wendy Johnson. She said, "Ooh, it's juicy." I said, "What?" She said, "I said I can't be saying juicy." She said, "Yeah, you can. You just can." I said, "Okay." She does this thing called Juicy Bits, right? And it's these little
Mhm.
quick little quips that she gives people. So anyway, Wendy Johnson, if you're watching, here's your girl right here. She's writing stories based on what you talk about. All right.
Yay.
Talk to you later, Asha. Thank you, everybody. My name is Dwayne-Ross from Dwayne-Ross.com. You can go to Dwayne-Ross.com and get your 30-minute free consultation. Just go there, enjoy yourself, check it out. There's more happening. There's going to be some price information coming up there. There's going to be a small little workshop that you can get for free that's up there. And as you know, I'm going to be putting the self-publishing workshop, the entire workshop out there as a course that you can purchase, and you don't have to have me there unless you want my coaching. So therefore you'll be able to go for it on your own, but I'll be coaching you along the way internally from that place. And then of course there'll be a few lives and a few Q&As and things of that nature. So I think you'll really like it. And then those that are finding themselves where you need that step-by-step coaching and you need that specific help, I want to encourage you to check it out. Give me a call. Let's talk about it. I've never had a situation where people couldn't, participate because of the cost. Most of the time, they had to have a little help with the start. So I work it out. We got payments now that can help you do that. So anyway, I want to see you on the next page, the next post, the next Facebook, the next live. Make sure you like, subscribe, share this information if it's been helpful to you. And we'll see you next week, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where my next guest is also an author that was supposed to be my guest a while back, and things didn't work out. Her schedule has opened up. She says she's available. If you guys remember that I was interviewed on her show, her podcast, Carletta. I'm going to have you learn more about her as we go forward, but she's coming back, and you guys are in for a treat. All right, so we're going to be talking about that no more flinching. Okay, no more flinching, and what's going on since then, because she is now doing some international stuff, and I think you're going to like it. Take care. God bless. We see you next time. Have a great evening, everybody.